Well, now, things are getting pretty crazy out there, aren't they? It's difficult to know where to begin when addressing it all. It seems like day after day, week after week, more things just keep happening, keep landing on the desk, so to speak, for you to address if you're someone like me who speaks truth to power and finds themselves in a position where they are putting out ideas that 99% of humanity seems to not understand. Um, so we have had these recent ICE shootings, and on its face, these are executions on the street by federal agents, which should be very alarming to anyone looking at them, anyone with common sense. Doesn't matter where you come down on politics, it should be a cause for an alarm. But the thing about this is our perceptions are being curated heavily these days. The Charlie Kirk shooting was a big instance of this. There's a famous quote by William Shakespeare, or Francis Bacon, depending on how you look at it, but I digress. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. And what this means is that things that happen that get media attention could very well be contrived and set up to be these events, these like a play. And this also means that when we take to the streets and walk on that proverbial chessboard, we are stepping into the role of being a player on the world stage. Possibly on the world stage, anyways. Anytime you do anything in the public eye, you are playing a role, whether you know it or not. And the dangerous thing about what's happening right now is people are playing roles in a play that's ending has already been scripted, and they are merely pawns in this play or game. Acting out their role that has been pre-written for them to do. And they think that they are exercising authenticity, doing the right thing. And on the surface of things, like protesting against a federal agent shooting someone on the street, on the surface, that seems like the right thing to do. And it's hard to argue with that. But from a more objective bird's eye view of things, this is exactly what the puppet masters want us to do. And especially, they want us to shoot back. They want us to meet them on their chessboard and start, throwing rocks and popping off shots at them, because then they will come down with the full might of the militarized police force, and they will have every excuse they need to implement further measures that lead us more and more towards martial law and a total police state. And we have to address the hypocrisy here also, because it is just, it's so, if it wasn't so sad, it would be laughable, because it's just whatever the media tells you and your party to do, you do, and you overlook the grievances you had 4 years ago. Like, if you were against COVID, you should be against this ICE shooting. If you were against the lockdowns and the mask mandates and etc., you should be against this ICE shooting. But it's like, if their party tells them that their authoritarianism is okay, then they're just like, tread harder, daddy. The Republicans, they have deep-seated daddy issues. They find, male authority figures. They will kowtow to male authority figures. They have a deep-seated parental abandonment issues when it comes to their fathers, and so they will do what a surrogate father figure tells them to do, more times than not. And then on the left, you have deep-seated mommy issues, where it's, for the good of the collective, for the greater good of the collective, for the herd, for this mammalian herd mentality of, taking care of everyone, and which on the surface sounds great, right? But it's super insidious. Very, very insidious. And as we saw with COVID, it's led to mass casualties and brain damage, soul loss, all these people getting vaxxed up just like herd animals. But what about immigration? What about the immigrants? Honestly, I don't really care. I really don't care what color you are, what language you speak. I'm certainly not going to advocate rounding people up that I don't even know and sending them halfway across the world. You should never advocate for something that you yourself are not prepared to go and do yourself. So, I'm certainly not prepared to do that. Morally, I am not prepared to go and do that. Yeah, so am I contributing to the downfall of the American Republic and, letting in the barbarians and whatnot? The American Republic has fallen extremely far already, and going out and trying to send the immigrants back home, this is not going to fix the Republic. Just the opposite. It's it's leading to Fourth Amendment violations, and now you have MAGA calling for Second Amendment violations as well. Like the president just came out and said he had a gun on the streets. Only criminals have guns on the streets. That should send shockwaves and alarm bells ringing, like, in anyone who has a shred of, traditional conservatism in them, let alone, libertarians and anarchists. This is the guy who brought you Operation Warp Speed, don't forget. And he was a New York liberal for most of his life, so... And he was quoted as saying, I believe in taking the guns first and due process second, so... Anyone who still believes in this guy, you got some serious soul-searching to do. But... Where is all of this going? This is going towards, they want us to fight. They want us to fight each other so that they can swoop in with their martial law and their 15-minute cities, AI-driven, lockdown police state with a universal basic income and carbon tax credits. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but you have to really, really take heed of the idea that whenever the media is showing you a story, that it could be contrived, fake, and to varying degrees of fakeness versus reality. There could be crisis actors. There could be varying levels of crisis actors, and there could be agents who know they're playing a role, acting as to provoke the reaction of the general public. I mean, it's looking to me, honestly, and I don't care how crazy I sound saying this, it's looking to me like ICE is in cahoots with the Israelis, and these shootings may have been also agents of said foreign power. Yeah, and I already know I'm on a list and whatever. But the American people, it's getting to the point where we really have nothing left to lose. So, do your fucking worst, intelligence agencies. Immigration is not the biggest threat to America. The biggest threat to America right now is AI, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, how many stories of dystopian sci-fi do you need to, wake up and smell what's going on? The other thing is that, we have this winter, this this big winter storm going on right now on the East Coast, and the timing of it with the ice shootings, there's these um, interesting parallels, ice, an ice storm, and an ice agency. And somebody brought it to my attention that there's a Norse rune, Isa, which symbolizes ice and stagnation. And, well, on my end of things, stagnation has been, when it comes to the economy, finding work has been really the name of the game right now. So, it makes me think that there's some kind of spell going on, some kind of mass spell, very much like the COVID spell that happened. Um, Especially considering how conservatives are just like in a hypnotic trance. I mean, both conservatives and liberals are, but back when it was COVID, the conservatives seemed to be able to see through it, and the liberals couldn't, and now it's the reverse of that. So it makes me think that there's some kind of ice sorcery going on, and it also reminds me of the concept of the fimbulwinter, which was this like 3-year long winter that precedes the Ragnarok in Norse mythology. Yeah, perception management has been a big part of the military industrial complex for a very long time. MK Ultra, as any Stranger Things fan will know, is a real operation, and it didn't stop. When they said it did, it's been rolling ever since, and they know how to bombard us with frequencies to put us in a certain mindset, brainwave frequency state where we are more susceptible to their programming, and yeah. So, rise above it. Snap out of it. Your enemies aren't out there on the street. They are sequestered away, pulling strings. And the only solution I can see is to, mass non-compliance and, just find somewhere where you can make your stand so you can save yourself, and not look for any kind of political or spiritual savior. When we all start doing that, it's the concept of the politicians on the the edge of the cliff being supported by the mass of the population, and on a board, and if we all walk off of that board, then that board will fall, and the politicians with it. So if we remove our consent, and we remove our attention and our energy, our money, our life force from this sick game, then we have a chance at a better world. So with that, I'll bid you a good night, and I'll catch you next time.